Following an incredible TV tour across America, I'm back in my world studio with some massive stories for you. I've got the latest on the couple caught having an affair at a Coldplay concert, and why Harry and Meghan's kiss cam moment was far, far worse. Plus, disgraced US TV star Ellen DeGeneres explains why her stay in Britain is now permanent. She is a horribly toxic person, and I'll deal with her in no uncertain terms at the end of the video. As a Brit, back in the UK, all I'll say is, we don't want her here. Send her to America. Now, Andy Byron and Kristen were completely unknown people a week ago, until they attended a Coldplay concert in which it was revealed that they were quite clearly having an affair. Let's have a look at the incriminating video. Quite extraordinary stuff. This is going to be the most watched video of all time, I think. Crushingly embarrassing. But is it as embarrassing as the Sussex's attendance at a Los Angeles Lakers versus Memphis Grizzlies NBA playoff game at the Crypto.com arena in 2023. Now, this is quite extraordinary. Let's take a look at this clip. And this is Harry and Meghan attending this game, pretending to be normal people. You know, they've had some popcorn, they've had a couple of beers, a hot dog perhaps, and they're enjoying this game. Of course, you can spend hundreds of dollars getting tickets to these events. And Harry and Meghan were very happy to be photographed at this game. Of course they were. But what they were less happy about was having the kiss cam pointed at them. So do you know about the kiss cam? It's basically a camera that goes around in a stadium, whether it's a sports event or a music gig, and they point the camera at people that look like happy couples. And the minute that the couple notice that they're on camera, they're encouraged to kiss each other. That's why it's called the kiss camera. Except that, crushingly embarrassingly, this happened to Harry and Meghan, and Harry was brutally rebuffed. So here's what happened. Their box appeared on this thing called the Jumbotron, which is the big screen with the camera. So there's Harry and Meghan in camera. Meghan, by the way, looking very uncomfortable to be on camera. Ironic, given that she's the most fame-hungry person in the world. She's the most fame-hungry person in history. She makes Madonna look shy. She makes Kim Kardashian look reserved. I mean, it's extraordinary. So anyway, Meghan doesn't like the camera. Who knows why? Maybe it's her wrong side, her wrong angle. But the couple appear on the big screen, Harry and Meghan, and the crowd cheer and expect them to share a kiss. Now, Meghan immediately noticed that they were being filmed and laughing, she waved to the crowd. But Harry quite clearly leaned in to kiss his wife. Now, that is his right because he is her husband. He has husbandly rights to kiss his wife. Of course he does. When I indulged in nuptials myself all those years ago, I had to have a meeting with the priest. And not only did he ask me whether I'd be performing in the bedroom for my betrothed, he said, "Are you fertile?" I'm not making this up. I had my physical prowess tested by the priest that married me. So I've got my husbandly duties, and old Prince Harry has his husband duties as well. He's entitled, is he not, to kiss his wife. However, she placed her hand on his chest, pushing him away because, you know, Meghan is all about the body language. Her body language is so negative to Prince Harry. Don't forget how rude she was to him when she attended the event in New York and she rebuffed his offer of holding hands because she wanted to be the main woman. Because don't forget, she's planning life after Prince Harry. That's all too clear. And we can see from this kiss cam footage all the way back in 2023 that there were problems then. The Queen Elizabeth was so right, because before they got married, the Queen told her best friend, "I don't think that Meghan loves Harry." And of course, the Queen was absolutely right. And we can see it here in 2023. What would that be? 5 years into their married life. And you would think, I don't know about you, let me know in the comments, but if you were with your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend and girlfriend or boyfriend and boyfriend, who cares? I don't care who you kiss. It's a free world. But whoever it is that you're with, if it's the person you're in a relationship with, if the camera came to you, would you not kiss your partner? Let me know in the comments, because I think you would. And I think it would be very rude and obnoxious and also churlish not to kiss each other, because the kiss cam is on you. It's expected. It's like the mistletoe. My goodness, I've kissed some ugly people under the mistletoe. Some proper face aches. Do you know what I mean? I've kissed people under the mistletoe at Christmas who look like an angry bulldog chewing a wasp. Give your old Auntie Jean a kiss, Mark. Luckily, there's no Auntie Jean to preserve anyone's embarrassment. But the bottom line is, if you're under the mistletoe, for those that don't know about the Christmas tradition, you've got the mistletoe, which is a kind of Christmas plant, I suppose. And when you're under it, you kiss the person. And that's the point of the mistletoe. I would say some uncles abuse it by walking around the house drunk, holding mistletoe in front of them, looking for free kisses from God knows who. What is it with the uncles? Anyhow, look, we have to crack on with this because I've got some massive stories for you. Ellen DeGeneres, one of the biggest stars formerly of American TV, a horrible person. She's in Britain now permanently. I've got the inside story. Send her back. We don't want her. If there's ever a case for deportation, it's got to be that so-and-so. Anyway, we'll come to that shortly. Harry leans in to kiss his wife, which is entitled right. I mean, of course she has to, participate. Of course, I'm not saying that. But he's the husband, she's the wife. They're on the kiss cam. It's appropriate to kiss. And so she pushes him away. And we've seen that so much, like I said, with her body language. It's very frosty towards Harry. He is now the spare in his own marriage. Oh, the irony. So miserable about his terrible life, the world's least happy millionaire. Humpy dumpy dumpy dump, poor Prince Harry. I was a spare in the royal family. It was so awful, living in castles worth millions of dollars and having every luxurious meal and every luxurious tailor-made suit paid for by the British taxpayer. It was such a miserable life with 24/7 security and all sorts of incredible luxuries that others can only dream of. It was so awful, and I was the spare in my own family. Well, now he's the spare in his own marriage. Sorry, Harry, you reap what you sow. So she pushes him away, turns her head away, her gesture effectively stopping him, prompting a visibly awkward cringe face from Harry. So Harry just kind of went like that. And that's because he's been rebuffed in public by his wife. You don't do that. I wouldn't do that to my partner, even if I wasn't in the mood for a kiss or something. Or we might have had an outrageous fight. In fact, I mean, I don't know. You'll have had this. You go to a dinner party or an event, and on the way with your partner, you've had an incredible fight. And when you arrive at the dinner party, it's all smiles and there are no problems because you're public facing, and that's what you do. That's a discreet way of, you don't have the fight publicly, do you? And so, but that's exactly what happened here, is that for some reason there was a little froideur, a little tension between Harry and Meghan. And the kiss cam wasn't enough for Meghan to do her best acting and pretend like everything was okay. And I honestly, I mean, if I was Harry, I would have read Meghan the riot act after that, because I would have said, look, you might not have been in the mood to kiss me. Maybe you find the kiss cam a little unsophisticated. The kiss cam is not for everyone, let's be honest. God knows what would have happened if Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip had been subjected to the kiss cam. Prince Philip would have told the camera to kiss off, wouldn't he? In no uncertain terms. But that's a different generation. But what's happened is that Harry's been humiliated, not just at this stadium, but he's been humiliated globally, which is why this kiss cam moment is so much worse than the CEO of that tech company. I've got the latest on that in just a second. And the fact that Harry had to do a bit of comedy, a bit of slapstick and pull a face. You see, because many people have said, oh, she wasn't rebuffing him. She was laughing. The whole thing was a jolly jape. Well, why then did Harry feel the need to make a joke out of the fact that he'd been rejected by his wife in front of ultimately millions of people? And he pulls the face and he goes, ooh, like that. What is that face? Ooh, that face is, oops, that was awkward. She didn't kiss me. Now, I don't mind if it's the first date. Okay, so going back to the kiss cam, if you're at an event and the kiss cam lands on the two of you and it's your first date, I understand you don't want to do the kiss cam at that point because, the first date is very delicate, isn't it? You might not kiss until the third or fourth date or beyond that. But no, they're married. They're expected to kiss. They didn't. That was an act of war from Meghan. And if I was Harry, I'd have put that down in the notebook, okay? The notebook of terrible offences brought upon Harry. He should have a list. He needs to keep a diary because these little microaggressions from Meghan, from my husband, ought to be documented for the inevitable divorce. Now, the Mark Dolan show is the only show in the world that has placed Harry and Meghan on 24/7 divorce watch. And that's why this kiss cam story that's just broken this week about these two people working for the same company has brought into sharp focus just how dreadful and wretched Harry and Meghan's relationship is. Now, Vanity Fair had an eyewitness account of Harry and Meghan's kiss cam moment in 2023. And Vanity Fair are very smart, and they said Meghan seems to notice first that she's up on the Jumbotron, which is the big screen, and gives a tiny wave and laugh. Harry leans in for a kiss before Meghan clearly holds him back with a hand on his chest, and he flashes his best impression of the cringe face emoji. Is absolutely right. So now let me offer you the contrast between Harry and Meghan's kiss cam moment and Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot, who were unknown a week ago and wish they were still unknown. Now, if we have a look at this clip, folks, of Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot, well, here's the story. They've been rumbled, okay, but what is the big difference between Andy, Kristen, and Harry, Meghan? What is the difference between Andy and Kristen and Harry and Meghan? I'll tell you what the difference is. Andy and Kristen are in love. That's right, folks, they're in love. Now, I know they've had a lot of criticism because, you know, of course, the Mark Dolan show is against adultery. I told you about my meeting with the priest when he nearly stripped me naked and tested the old, crown jewels. Just look to the left and cough for me, please. I'm like, are you sure you're a priest and not a physician? That anecdote about the priest is true. He quizzed me on my prowess and if I would deliver issue to my betrothed. I'm not making it up. I think every couple should go through that, frankly. Can you imagine if you get married and you find out your husband is firing blanks, right? You want to know in advance, don't you? I mean, many women would see that as an advantage, but not if she's planning on reproduction. So Andy and Kristen, they've had a lot of criticisms, but those two are in love. And yes, it's awful if they're married, which they both are. And it's also embarrassing that they weren't braver about it. It's quite clear that if they'd actually stood there and held each other and been public with the world and just said, you know what? Yep, we're in love, actually. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? It was Cupid's arrow that landed on us. We're human beings. And that's actually my view of Andy and Kristen, okay? I do think they were cowardly. She covered her face and then, like a complete coward, he went underneath the camera, which was obviously absurd because at that point the damage was done. And them covering their faces made it a story. If they'd stood there and smiled and styled it out, then of course it wouldn't have gone viral because it wouldn't have been an interesting story. Or there's a couple who are unknown on the kiss cam who are clearly in love. It wouldn't have gone on TikTok. It wouldn't have gone viral. It wouldn't have destroyed 2 marriages and 2 careers. But, and this might be controversial, and let me know if you disagree in the comments, okay? Because the Mark Dolan show is a broad church. We don't have to agree with each other. This is not a sort of echo chamber. It ain't, right? If you disagree with me, I want to bring that in. I welcome that. I'm going to be hearing in a minute from Jenny Bond, from the former Royal BBC correspondent. She's still Jenny from the block. She's still Jenny from the block, who is fully in Team Markle. And those voices are welcome on the show. I don't agree with the people who are pro-Team Markle, but they're so welcome to have a voice on this show. Anyway, so I'm going to be controversial. Let me know if you disagree in the comments. But Andy and Kristen, this couple, are deeply in love. And do you know what? That does happen in life. Life is complicated. Was Andy's wife caring and loving? Was she attentive to his every need? What about Kristen and her husband? Quite often when people stray, it's because they're not happy. Because maybe the other partner is uncaring or abusive or God knows what. They are just human beings. And I would say, if I look at the Harry and Meghan kiss cam and the Andy and Kristen kiss cam, well, the Andy and Kristen kiss cam, it's an example of misjudgment. It is. It was a very foolish thing to do, to be on camera like that. And of course, it's wrong to have an affair. But my God, they love each other. The body language between Big Andy and Kristen, she was all over him. Like, what was it? He had his arms around her and holding, I will say, a very intimate part of her anatomy. It wasn't around the waist. His hands and arms were higher up, if you get my drift. But showing demonstrable consent, she's then clasped her hands over his in a kind of arm lock, really. So she's given the most clear signal that she loves this guy and that she's attracted to him, and he's welcome to have her. mind, body, and soul, right? That is an extraordinary image of consent and of lust, obviously, and love as well. Andy and Kristen are in love. Listen, folks, I know it's wrong, but have you never read a Shakespeare play? Have you not seen musicals like Grease? Oh, Grease Lightning, and West Side Story, and these forbidden examples of love? A love so wrong, it's so right. How a love so wrong can turn out to be so right. I might, by the way, I think I possibly got the lyrics of that wrong, and I think it's actually how a love so right could turn out to be so wrong. Who was the artist? How a love so right can turn out to be so wrong. Oh, my darling, how a love so right can turn out to be so wrong. The Bee Gees, that's it. I love the Bee Gees. Did you know they started singing on the street as teenagers? And they've written some of the greatest songs of all time, sold a couple of 100 million records. I love the Bee Gees, who sang in falsetto for their whole career. Quite extraordinary. I saw Barry Gibb live. The guy can still carry a note. He's incredible. Anyway, so those two are still in love, and Harry and Meghan are not. And according to Queen Elizabeth, who I'm so happy to quote, because it makes it feel like she's still here, and in many ways her spirit is still here, there's no love. To do that to your husband, in terms of Meghan, to publicly humiliate your husband and rebuff him on camera at a full stadium, I mean, again, let me know in the comments, is that in itself, is that grounds for divorce? It's certainly going in the yellow book of Meghan misdemeanors, antihistamines. My husband! I call him H, my husband. It's shocking. I did meet a defense lawyer, a criminal defense lawyer, at an event a couple of days ago. And because I'm used to, a lot of the public give me a hard time about being so critical of Meghan Markle. They say she's just a normal human being. She's a lovely girl. She's a beautiful woman. Let her get on with her life. Don't be so critical. Don't be so unkind. Well, look, first of all, any public figures will be held to account on the Mark Dolan show. I make no apologies for holding these people to account for their actions, especially when they have a massive public profile like Meghan and Harry, who make money from selling stories about their private life and about their family. But also, at what point did princes and millionaire actresses become the latest protected class? Because I didn't get that memo, and I won't ever get that memo. But the bottom line is, I met this criminal defense lawyer, and I thought he'd have a go at me for the Meghan stuff, and he said, she's a vile narcissist. He said, I've seen it a million times in my court cases, controlling narcissistic behavior, and it was quite interesting to hear his account, a professional. So there you go, a tale of two love stories. Andy and Kristen, naughty but in love, genuine love. See, I think Andy and Kristen should marry. I think what Andy should do, because now he's resigned as CEO, he should say, yes, it's been a very expensive visit to a Coldplay gig, right? Yes, it has. He said, but I'm glad that the world knows how much I love this woman, and we will be married. The moment my divorce is through, we will be married and we'll make a great life together. I don't know whether they'll have kids. Kristen looks at, possibly over the hill now, but she's still got it, obviously. Ask Andy. Careful. Time for a mic drop. I think so. She's still got, Kristen's still got it. There's still a little tiger in the tank, let me tell you. There's still a little acceleration in that Ford Mustang convertible. So he's married. And what's happened is, I'll just bring you up to speed on the latest, which is that he's resigned as CEO, according to Astronomer, who employed him. In a post on LinkedIn, the software startup, who, by the way, are a lot more famous now than they were before Andy decided to have an affair. And they've said Andy Byron has tendered his resignation and the board of directors has accepted. It added, as stated previously, Astronomer is committed to the values and culture that have guided us since our founding. Our leaders are expected to set the standard in both conduct and accountability, and recently that standard was not met. I think that Big Andy should sue. I think Andy Byron should sue Astronomer, because it isn't a crime to fall in love, and he's only a human being. And also, why has he stepped down and Kristen Cabot not, who's got this ridiculous title of head of people or something, because she's at human resources, which if ever there was a waste of space department, it's the HR department, where all you do is get annoying emails about how it's Sharon's birthday on Wednesday and we're all having cake in the boardroom at 11:30 a.m. Do me a favor. There's an obesity crisis. Plus this company is losing money. It's get back to work, ease up on the carbohydrates, and who cares if it's Sharon's birthday? Send her a text out of work hours because we got a business to run. Don't you think I should run a company? I'd like to run a company and with a bit of tough love. Because I've got some older viewers watch this show. I've got some retired viewers, and a lot of them have told me in the comments that back in the day, they had proper jobs with a proper work ethic. None of this, off sick the whole time with stress. All these complaints that you can't prove. I've had stress my whole life. That gets me up in the morning, let me tell you. So poor old Andy. Andy Byron is stressed. But why is Kristen still in post and Andy not? He should sue Astronomer because it's not a crime to fall in love. And in fact, the two of them working together in the company could be quite explosive. I mean, a husband and wife partnership, because if she works alongside him as head of HR and he's the CEO, she'll do everything for him. I mean, we have proof that she has done everything for him and will do anything for him on a regular occasion of an evening. She'll literally do anything. That's what I was told for him. Careful. So this company decided to fire him. I think that's a bit harsh. And if by the way, I say fire, he resigned. But can I tell you about the corporate world? Is that when you get fired, the human resources department say, look, you can say that you stepped down and then we'll do a deal and you'll get a bit of money and you go away quietly. So that's what's happened. He has been fired, but they dress it up that he's stepped down. But if he completely resigned, then he wouldn't get any money. Well, he's not that stupid. So Byron and so she's been placed on leave, according to Axios. They were canoodling at this concert in Massachusetts, which is southwest of Foxborough, Massachusetts, which I didn't include in the Mark Dolan tour. But I've had so many messages from you saying, come back to America, come to Texas, come to Alaska, come to Ohio, come to Wyoming. And I've got to go to Massachusetts as well because I've got so many Irish cousins there. Anyway, it's southwest of Boston. That's where the event was. And what's quite funny is that this lady, Kristen, she's only been with the company since, 2024. Yeah, it's 2020. So Andy's been in charge since 23, and she's been there since 2024 as its head of human resources. And when she was hired at the time, Andy Byron, the man who became her lover, said, Kristen's exceptional leadership and deep expertise will be fantastic for the company. Well, he knows, doesn't he? He knows about her leadership in the bedroom. And he knows about her deep expertise between the sheets. How a love so right can turn out to be. So what I went there is in the upper register. You got to drop it down. How a love so right can turn out to be so wrong. Oh, my darling, how? See, and then you've got the space at the top end. Will they divorce the others? Of course they will. Byron's married to Meghan Kerrigan Byron, not another Meghan. Oh, dear. Was she as frosty and loveless as Meghan Markle? Meghan Kerrigan Byron removed his last name from her Facebook and deactivated her social media account. Meanwhile, Cabot, well, she's got history because she divorced her first husband, Kenneth Thornby, in 2022. Probably because she went to an Elton John concert with the CEO of her previous employer. I'm still standing. Yeah. And so she divorced her first husband. It's understood that she's now married to the CEO of Privateer Rum, which is a great rum, who could consider sponsoring the show. I don't know if it's the king of rums, like Budweiser is the king of beers. We know that because it says king of beers on every bottle and every can. And that makes it a fact as far as I'm concerned. But sponsorship news about the show coming soon, by the way. Can't wait to tell you about it. But this poor guy, Andrew Cabot, is allegedly, well, he must be, it's the same surname. He's the CEO of Privateer Rum. And they're the co-owners of a house that they bought in New Hampshire for $2 million. Well, that house will be part of the divorce settlement. It's quite clear that both parties are going to divorce their other halves. But what they've got to do is marry each other and make this a great love story. And do you know how old Andy and his lover are going to make money in the future? Andy and Kristen, right? When they get married, first of all, they sell the wedding rights to Hello Magazine, and they do a 60-minute documentary on, is it CBS? And I think they've been in the news, haven't they, last couple of weeks? CBS, 60 Minutes. That's another story. Look, Stephen Colbert, fired by CBS, who are responsible for 60 Minutes. Donald Trump sues CBS for editing the Kamala Harris interview about the war in Gaza. He gets a $16 million payout. CBS fire Stephen Colbert, who is the new David Letterman. And CBS have got rid of the franchise altogether. There'll be no Late Show and no Stephen Colbert. Your reaction to that? I'll say that Stephen Colbert is a very talented guy. He's entitled to criticize the incumbent, the president. Half of my viewers love Donald. Half of my viewers don't love Donald. It's not my job to take sides on that one. The problem with Stephen is it was a daily rant against the president, and therefore you're alienating half of the country. And I've just got to say that I grew up watching David Letterman, and I've seen so many reruns of Johnny Carson. And also I've watched a lot of Jay Leno, three of my heroes, really. And I don't know the politics of any of those three men. And I think that's really interesting. I have done opinion politics myself, but that's in current affairs. I hosted a news show on a news channel, and I was paid to have an opinion like Piers Morgan. That was my job. And like Rachel, what she called Maddow, Tucker Carlson, that was a job I had. It was my job to have an opinion. But in the world of entertainment, it's better if you don't. And I think that Stephen Colbert was so boring, just one note. What I remember about Letterman is he would mock whoever was president. I think that was the way to go anyway. I don't know what you think about that, but that's an interesting story. I also find Colbert just a little bit smug. I will say that. And I'm a Roman Catholic. He's a Catholic. He's a man of faith. No problem. He's had quite a tragic life with losing his father and his brother in an awful accident. You know, so he's had his tragedy. He's a talented guy, but I don't know really. I just think that I think that show, if you consider the incredible franchise that was the David Letterman show, a titan of late night TV, and he makes it partisan, and you're telling half the country they're idiots. Thanks, but no thanks. You know, I'm living under the leadership of Sir Keir Starmer at the moment, a Prime Minister in the UK. I believe he's doing terrible damage to the country. But I'm not going to, you know, I accept the decision, and other people that voted for him is like, you know, let's hope it all works out. I mean, I want him to do well because he's in charge. You know, he's not for me, but I'm not going to split the room over it, but there you go. Before we go, Ellen DeGeneres, who had one of the biggest talk shows in America, has confirmed that she did move to Britain because of Donald Trump. She said everything here in Britain is just better. She was speaking at a conversation event at Cheltenham's Everyman Theatre, her first public appearance since leaving the US. I can't imagine it was sold out. She's unknown here in Britain, I will tell you that. And hopefully that will remain the case. Richard Bacon, who is a former TV presenter, asked her if Donald Trump's election spurred the move. And she said, yes, we got here the day before the election and woke up to lots of texts from our friends with crying emojis. And I was like, he got in, and we're like, we are staying here, as in here in the UK. So she's in the Cotswolds with her wife, Portia de Rossi, who's a very beautiful lady. I think it's fair to say that Meghan, Ellen, two sides of the same coin. Ellen is punching above her weight. They moved to a house in the Cotswolds in 2024 after her talk show ended. She embarked on a final comedy tour around the US before moving. A dreadful comedy tour. I saw the special, and it had a lot of jokes about how she's got a butler. I mean, seriously, woman of the people, keeping it real, folks, and making light about the serious allegations laid at her table regarding her talk show. Now, an industry source told the Rap newspaper that Ellen DeGeneres was never coming back to America and that the move was motivated by Trump, though Ellen hadn't confirmed that until just now. So she says that her new home is beautiful. Well, of course it is. She's worth over $50 million. I don't know why, but she is. It just goes to show that showbiz is not the home of meritocracy. She's incredibly wealthy. She's got this new home, paid for in cash. And she said, it's clean. Everything here is just better. The way animals are treated, people are polite. I just love it here. What is she saying about America and how animals are treated in America? What is she saying? How dare you? I just come back from America, and America has incredibly high farming standards, and America is a nation of animal lovers. I've never seen dogs and cats treated so well as they are in the United States. In fact, I was there recently, as you know, I just come back, and I began to have a theory that there are actually more pet supermarkets than human supermarkets, because whenever you go to like a big shopping area, like an outdoor mall, when you go to the mall, and you've got like a Starbucks, thank God. My goodness, did I rely on Starbucks while I was away, particularly when I became very ill with the most crazy throat infection that made my throat look like a Picasso painting. Only now just beginning to recover. I can't tell you. But I was taken care of brilliantly by the American medical system. Let me thank those doctors and nurses. But there's normally in a shopping area, you've got a Starbucks, you might have a supermarket like an Albertsons or a Walmart, the Whole Foods, and you've got a CVS or a Walgreens. And then there's always a pet shop with pet supplies. The Americans love their animals. How dare Ellen DeGeneres throw shade on the Americans for their treatment of animals? She was also concerned about LGBTQ plus rights, which the Mark Dolan show is fully supportive of. Obviously, live your life, sleep with who you want to. I couldn't care less. Good luck to you. But she's moaning about how it is for LGBTQ people plus in America. Sorry, what? America is the most libertarian, do what you like country on earth. She needs to go to the Middle East and see how liberal things are over in, countries like Iran and Iraq and Gaza even, dare I say it. Amazingly, it's not that cool to be gay or trans in Gaza. Well, that's awkward, isn't it? So it's crazy. Well, it is in Israel you are. How ironic, the only democracy in the Middle East where people can be who they want to be. Maybe Ellen should live in Israel, although I doubt that her woke progressive politics would enable such a move. Anyway, the bottom line is, she said, I wish we were at a place where it was not scary for people to be who they are. I wish that we lived in a society where everybody could accept other people and their differences. So until we're there, I think that there's a hard place to say that we have huge progress. I don't know what she means by that. Sorry, she's dreadful word salad. But the bottom line is that how dare she say that you can't be who you are in America? It's the one place in the world you can be who you are. And it's the freest society on the planet, a lot more free than Britain, which is locking people up for an unkind post on X. There are people committing actual sex offences on innocent teenagers who are serving less time than someone that sends a tweet that didn't follow the narrative. That's Britain. So America's a lot freer, actually, than Britain is. So she can't say that she's come to Britain for a kind of open-minded, free society. If you want that, Ellen, you need to go back to America. And here's the thing. She brought up the allegations around her behaviour and treatment of her staff when she was a talk show host. And at this event, just recently, she said, no matter what, any article that came up, it was always like, she's mean. So she's complaining that if there was an article about Ellen DeGeneres, it would say she's mean, except that that's because she's mean, okay? That's Budweiser is the king of beers. It says so in every bottle, every can. She's mean because her career ended in America because she was mean to her staff. So no matter what, any article that came up, she said it was like, she's mean. She said, how do I deal with this without sounding like a victim or poor me or complaining? Well, I'm sure she'll give it a good go. She said, I want to address this issue. She said, I'm a direct person and I'm very blunt. And I guess that sometimes means that I am mean. Now, you know what that is, folks? That's gaslighting. Because if you're horrible to someone in a marriage, in a relationship, if it's a friendship or a colleague, if somebody is abusive to you, is cruel, and then they say, I'm just being honest, or I'm just being direct, or if they say to you, God forbid, you're thin-skinned, or you are overreacting, or you're hypersensitive, that is gaslighting. That is the abusive dynamic of which I believe there is a case to be made that Ellen is guilty. So widespread claims of bullying about this woman that's now in Britain. Bullying, intimidation, and a fear culture behind the scenes. Staff described the show's motto of "Be kind" as hypocritical given the alleged internal environment. BuzzFeed News published 2 major exposés featuring current and former employees. Allegations of terrible prejudice. A former employee of colour alleged that they were subjected to awful comments and microaggressions related to their ethnic status. One executive reportedly said to an employee of colour, "Oh wow, you both have box braids. I hope we don't get you confused." Right? Now, if that's true, that's obscene. Another claim, I was told by one of the writers that they only know the names of white people who work there. This is from an office presided over by woke Ellen, folks, who says that America is illiberal and you can't be accepted to be who you are. And in America, it seems like, well, at the Ellen DeGeneres show, you can't be accepted to be who you are. In America, you can, but not if you worked on the Ellen show, according to these accounts. So she's left America for offences which have been laid at the very table of her own company. Employees alleged that they were fired or disciplined for taking medical leave or attending funerals. How ironic, given that Ellen has spent so much time worrying about her own mental health. One staffer claimed they were let go after taking a month of medical leave following an effort at taking their own lives. Can you imagine? Staff claimed they were instructed not to speak to Ellen if she was in the office. The quote from a former employee, "If she wants to have a conversation with you, she'll initiate it. Don't approach her." Who the hell does she think she is? Is she Tom Cruise? I don't think so. Although it does sound like working for Meg. I keep calling her Meghan because it's a Freudian slip, because I consider them both to be toxic people. Working for Ellen was clearly mission impossible. Don't approach her was the instruction from senior management about Ellen. And then there are also allegations around sex within the company. I don't want to get into that. It's a family show. Multiple former employees and celebrities claim that Ellen is notoriously mean. Top comedian Kevin T. Porter started a viral Twitter thread asking for insane stories of Ellen's cruelty, receiving thousands of responses. One popular claim, she had a very sensitive nose, so everyone had to chew gum from a bowl outside her office before talking to her. And if she thought that you smelled, you had to go home and take a shower. What the heck is it? Is she a TV host or a bloodhound or a sniffer dog? More dog than sniffer, if you ask me. Public criticism from celebrities like Brad Garrett from Everyone Loves Raymond. Great sitcom that was. "Sorry, but it comes from the top," said Brad Garrett. "I know more than one person that was horribly treated by her. Common knowledge." Ellen responded. She said, "On day one of our show, I told everyone that this would be a place of happiness. No one would ever raise their voice and everyone would be treated with respect. Obviously, something's changed and I'm disappointed to learn that this has not been the case." Yeah, well, that's an understatement. And by the way, I think, whether you like Trump or not, using him as the excuse for leaving America is BS. She left America because her career was over and she couldn't live with the shame anymore. I've been cancelled and I stayed in the UK. I don't care. I've reinvented myself. I'm having a lot more fun with the Mark Dolan show, which has now hit 100,000 subscribers and growing. And the comments are an integral part of this show. They're not part of it. They are the show. And we're growing something here together, and it's a thrill. But she has to run off to England because she couldn't bear the shame of staying in America, where it's quite clear that her career was over. And unfortunately, she was America's problem. She's now our problem. Please send her back. Chuck her in the back of a Home Office van. Deport, please. Return to sender. Address unknown. Folks, it's been great. It's so good to be back. Another big show coming tomorrow with more massive royal truth bombs, plus other showbiz stories. Let me know if there are things you want me to talk about on the Mark Dolan show. Drop it in the comments because there's so much to talk about. Harry and Meghan, yes, the royals, the world of showbiz, elite hypocrisy. I have got so much to share with you. And so many laughs along the way, as well as a few truth bombs. See you next time. Please like the channel if you can and the video. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're alerted when a video is published. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now. How love's so right. can turn out to be so wrong. Oh, my darling.